Welcome to SolFul Connections, where we skip the small talk and head right into the soul talk. I'm Amanda Solar, and each week we share the kinds of stories that remind us we're not alone. It's about being human, raw and unfiltered, just real talk. Let's connect. Connection. So today with me, I have Dr. Jill Crosson. And Jill, you recently started All in Precision Wellness. So I want to hear about that. I want to hear a little bit about your journey. Before we get started, can you share just kind of what's making you happy today or what's lit you up recently? Something positive.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited, and you have a great personality and persona to be around, so I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, extremely, extremely excited about the new business, and that is a big piece of my happiness right now. I think the best word would be pride. Just very proud of the project, we'll call it.
Yeah. When did you like set up shop, so to speak?
Just about a month and a half ago.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about your professional journey
Absolutely.
to get here, to here?
Ab- Absolutely. So I'm familiar with the Lehigh Valley because I went to undergraduate at Muhlenberg and I was able to play basketball there. So it was a great all-around experience. And then I went to Philadelphia for medical school. So I spent many years in Philly. And then after I did residency and fellowship. And after that, I came
Wow.
back to the Lehigh Valley. And I worked for a large orthopedic group for about 13 years until I finally made the jump to open my own practice just recently. Um, yeah, so I do primary care sports medicine, so double board certified in primary care and sports medicine. And then I just finished a 2-year program through the Institute for Functional Medicine, or IFM, for the functional medicine certification. So looking at like root cause medicine. So it's just a continuous learning process for me.
I mean, that is so impressive. It's just so impressive. So as somebody whose idea of athleticism is like, walking around the block, stopping to let my dog sniff. Um, were you always athletic? Like, what was the role of
Yeah.
sports in your life?
So first of all, no matter what level you're at, we can keep you active. Okay,
Good.
so we can support you and anybody else on their journey, okay? Whether you're an elite athlete or you like to walk your dog. So we can
That's
help.
great.
But yes, I've always loved sports. I've always been an athlete. I played basketball and soccer pretty much year round growing up and played basketball through college. And I think part of that piece has always stayed with me. And
Mhm.
to be able to bridge that with always wanting to be a doctor, and it sounds very cliche, right? Like you hear that from people, but
Yeah.
honestly, that was something that since I was a little girl, I always wanted to be a doctor. I could never remember thinking of anything else. And
Wow.
so there was this piece of me that was this athlete, and then I wanted to be a doctor. So to be able to treat the musculoskeletal system in like the fullest, most complete, comprehensive form, to me is like the greatest gift and the greatest thing because I get to combine like those two joys.
Does sports have a role in your life today?
Well, I wish it had more. If we had more time, right?
Right? I mean, you just started a business.
I have kids, so I act more as a cheerleader and the sideline and the dance mom, and so yes, I
Okay.
so I support my kids. I work out very consistently, and now I've kind of transitioned into I was playing some pickup basketball and in some basketball leagues, but now I do more like half marathons and I've done a few marathons, so it's more distance running to
Yeah.
keep in shape.
Yeah. That's really incredible. One last sports question, because I'm so curious as like an onlooker.
Sure.
Um, Why, like, what is it about the sports that you like? What is it? Because to me, when I think about like trying to catch a ball, it feels stressful. I'm just like so curious, what has it been? Like, what is that? Is it the
Sure.
movement of your body? Is it like feeling strong? What is it?
I think it's all of it. I think you're hitting all the right pieces. And so really for every person to like find their love, their joy, like what brings them peace. So where you just said you're like, oh, the ball, like it makes me nervous.
Yeah.
If I just throw a ball or I play some basketball in the living room with my son, who's 2.5, and it's a little
Yeah.
basketball, it brings me joy and it's very calming.
Yeah.
There is something about, I used to say this all the time, like the most calming sound was just bouncing the basketball or hearing that swoosh of the net.
Yeah.
That's like my meditation, or going out for a run is very much like the way I can meditate. Whereas for
Yeah.
everybody, it's different, right? And for some people, it
Yeah.
might be, playing an instrument or dancing. So
Yeah.
whatever that is for that person. But yes, movement is very much a part of my life. I'm a very like high energy person. So I like to stay active. I need to stay active. Um, I have a hard time actually relaxing. That's where I fault myself and have to do better.
Yeah.
But I love being active, and yes, there is something quite wonderful about feeling strong and having that feedback.
Well, if you ever want anyone to teach you how to sit on a chair, I'm your girl.
I love it. I love it.
So good at that, I am. That's my skill. Um, and why, with all of the education that you have and the experience that you have, did you decide, oh, I want to learn about functional medicine? Like, how did that come into your world?
I think a friend of mine, Megan Avidize, who's a physical therapist in the area, said it best that once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And when she said that, I was like, those are brilliant words to live by. But it was a new way of looking at medicine. We as physicians are very symptom focused in the US. And sadly, I think we miss a lot because of that. We're not treating the whole person all the time. We're very, symptom focused. And unfortunately, doctors are at the mercy of insurance companies. They have very limited time with
Yeah.
patients. And so you may miss some things or not get a complete history. And so if we're just focused, for example, on knee pain or shoulder pain, but we miss the fact that, you know, their hypothyroid isn't well controlled, or they're going through menopause, or they have a stressful event going on in their life, we're just missing something, right? And we're not getting the quality that we need. And so part of that was personal, part of that, like not feeling myself, going through it myself. Part of that was seeing it happen with my husband's treatment as a combat veteran suffering from PTSD, not getting the
Okay.
all around care that he needed. And then ultimately, it really was a push from my patients to say, listen, yeah, I have knee pain, but I hurt all over, or, or I
Yeah.
have this or this going on, and just going like, I need to do more. I need to do better. How can I help you? And that was the deep dive of saying, I need to learn, I need to keep learning.
So, can I just take one step back and ask,
Absolutely.
what is functional medicine?
Functional medicine is really just this like term, but you can also use like personalized medicine,
I
right?
see.
So I think that
Yeah.
just got like to be like a buzzword, right? But really looking at root cause, like
Yeah.
what is going on as the root cause. There are so many symptoms that we can really bring together and say, what is driving that? Like, is it inflammation? Is there an
Yeah.
infection going on? Is it more due to stress or hormone or some sort of dysfunction in our body, and really trying to get to the root cause of that?
Yeah. So, what do you hope, like, for your clientele? What do you want them to walk away with, or
Mhm.
to come into the practice with, or what are the hopes in that arena?
It's just a more comprehensive approach. And I think that's really trying to allow patients to be heard, right?
Yeah.
Patients go to the doctor and sometimes they see a doctor, sometimes they don't, and they just feel like they're being either neglected or forgotten, or there's just a piece that they're just left kind of guessing. Uh,
Yeah.
and so I want patients to feel heard, and I also want them to see, people are still passionate and still want to provide
Yeah.
and do medicine the right way.
I love that. I have to say, because I know that there are listeners who are going to say, you go into the doctor, you go to see somebody about something, and it's like it feels like it's a timed thing where you kind of even can forget what it is that you're actually feeling.
Hmm.
And you walk away and, not much has changed. So I love this
Exactly.
philosophy. I do.
Yes, it's just really coming up with like a list of symptoms. Like, what brings you in? What are the top three things that are causing you issues currently? When was the last time you felt yourself? Or when was the last time you felt well? Because it's an amazing question, right?
Yeah.
People know what hurts, right? What ails them. I have shoulder pain. I'm feeling tired. I'm really fatigued lately. I'm super stressed out. But you say, okay, well, when was the last time you felt well? And then let's like backtrack and kind
Yeah.
of go through a timeline.
So being a doctor is one thing, and being an entrepreneur is another.
Absolutely.
So, number one, what was it that really, you didn't have to open your own practice, your own business? What was the compulsion behind doing so? Especially, by the way, Joe, you have a 2-year-old. You already have one baby.
We just like to, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it big.
Like, yeah, kick it up a couple of notches.
Absolutely. They always say like when you're pregnant, you're like, oh, you're never really ready for it, right? So
Yeah.
it's a continuous learning process. And it wasn't like one day I just woke up and said, oh, we're gonna open this business. I think this was something that over the years, like we had thought about, and there was like different people in my life that had brought it up and said, like, you should do this. And it
Mhm.
wasn't really the right time. And then of course I had my son, and it's like, okay, maybe in the future. But ultimately, I'm very, very fortunate and I have like a great, great supporting network. And I just feel very very lucky to have them in my life, and they were super supportive and really just pushed me and said, okay, like it's now, like now's the time, the patients are asking for it, like you're ready, you got to just take the jump, you just got to do it. So it was, I think, ultimately, regardless of like the education and the commitment, it really was like just feeling like, okay, I have the support, I have that security blanket,
Yeah.
I can do this, they're supporting me.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
And you're the mother of two. I don't know
Yes.
how old, I know one is two.
I have a
So,
2.5-year-old and I have a 9-year-old, and then I
okay.
have two older stepdaughters as well.
Okay.
16 yesterday, actually.
One just turned how old?
16 yesterday.
Okay. Yeah. So you've got the teenage world in your world.
Hmm.
So how do you carve out time for yourself? Do you carve out time for yourself? Is it important for you to carve out time for yourself? And then what do you do to kind of find your own center?
I think it's important for everybody to carve out time. And I think for a really long time, that expression of do as I say, not as I do was coming into play, where I would advise people, right? Like, this is
Yes.
important, you should do this. And yet I wasn't doing it myself, and I was getting really burnt out.
Yeah.
And as they say, like, you just say it's never going to happen to me. Like, no, that can't happen
Yeah.
until it does. And
Yeah.
I was going through it, and this past year was pretty intense, and realizing like, hey, I'm in the point of my life of, again, having a 2-year-old. I'm hitting perimenopause at 43, and work is super stressful, and I'm like, this is not a really good way. It's not sustainable in a healthy way. So let's really take a look at this. And so I'm not saying everyone should just go open their own business, but you got to find what like is right for you and how in the
Right.
long run it's going to be helpful. Because I had a great job. I really did. I had a really great job and worked with some wonderful people that I miss dearly. And it was just like we've been talking, it was just the right time
Yeah.
to make the jump.
Was opening your own business also a way that you found that you could carve out time for yourself because you are the determinator of what you spend your time
Absolutely.
doing?
I can make my own schedule and kind of see patients and do it in the way that I wanted to do it and not be stressed out about it, not feel guilty like, oh, I saw a patient for 15 minutes, but they really needed, 30 or 40. And then what was
Yes.
happening is I was doing notes at like my kids' games and I would be in
Mm,
the car doing notes as my husband was driving. It was just like
that's a
you can
lot.
ask any doctor, but we all take our work home and just like a lot of other professions, but it was getting to be a little bit too much and it was taking up too much of time with my kids. And I was like,
Right.
this isn't fair to them. I want to be a better mom. And so really trying to differentiate like work and then home
Yeah.
life. And then really also like what you were saying is that ironically, exercise really is the best medicine for me personally.
Yeah.
I love that. And so every morning I exercise, and whether it's like running or yoga or lifting, it's a way. My husband and I love to hike. So it's really a way for us to like get outside and get some fresh air. But I love to exercise, and it's a way that I am able to decompress and relax.
So, Jill, I also like to ask random questions because I am nosy.
Go for it.
So what would you say people get wrong about you?
I have had people tell me in the past that I'm very intimidating. And I kind of smile about that because I don't mean to be. I think part of it is I'm just tall. So that might intimidate people, but it's not intentional by any means. And I can, you can't help how tall you are. But I think I'm very approachable and I have a great relationship with my patients and I really like to teach. So I love having students with me to be able to like share. Like I've had really great mentors, so to be able to like pass that along and teach students is really important. So
Yeah,
like I would hope that people say like, no, you're not that intimidating. Like I can talk to you, I can open up to you.
I totally get that. And that's, it's such a like lesson too in getting to know someone,
Mhm.
once you start to talk to somebody and really see them and listen, you can kind of put away those assumptions. Um,
Absolutely.
so was there a book or a podcast or a piece of media that kind of shifted the way you look at life or made some sort of impact on you?
Oh, there's a few I want to say. I do listen to like Dr. Atia's podcast a fair amount because that really helps to like solidify what I'm doing and the kind of care I want to provide patients. But there's been like a bunch of books, and I don't know if I can like pick just one.
Yeah.
It's regarding like, Tony Robbins actually wrote a book about like your health and like longevity. And I think that like really just hit a button. It was years ago that I read it. It was like, yeah, like we want to age, but we want to age well, right? Like we want to age in a healthy manner. Nobody just wants to get older. We want to get older, but we want to be healthy. We want to still be active.
Yeah.
Or I think that's like the general consensus, right? When we say like, oh, we want to get older, right?
Right. I
But we
mean, we
don't
don't
want to
want
do
to
it.
be, yeah, 100%.
Still
Living
being
just
clear-minded.
older isn't
Exactly.
the only goal. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when people say longevity, they really are thinking they're adding in some vibrancy. Okay. So, Jill, if you were standing face to face with like 10-year-old Jill and you could tell her something, what would you tell her?
You did it.
Great.
Yeah. Like I would say I'm living my dream.
I love that. What would
Yeah.
she say to you?
Are you serious? Are you for real? Uh, Yeah, just hard work pays off, right?
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
making it again, it goes back to, like, I don't mean to sound cliche, but it's true. I've been very lucky to have opportunities, but I've made
Yeah.
the best of those opportunities. I've
S-
met some great people, and that was by chance. And they became mentors because I worked hard at building that relationship and asking them to teach me, and really just being there and being present and constantly showing up for things when I didn't have to. And so yeah, it really it shows that that pays dividends down the road.
So, how did you get to be like that? Is that just a natural part of you? Is that the way you were raised? Did your, mom say, Jill, go ahead, ask people? Like, where did that come from?
So I think it's a few things. I think it's both, right? Like my husband and I talk about the nature versus nurture
Yeah.
argument all the time.
Yep.
And recently listening to a podcast talking about, like, we think that grit is determined, or that we push based upon, that is just a part of us. um or some people choose to be gritty, but actually this podcast, this researcher was saying, no, there's a lot of researchers to say that there's like a genetic
Yes.
susceptibility for that. And I found that to be really interesting. So I think a lot of it's genetic. I had really hardworking parents, but I saw how my mom just did it all. Like, my mom was a single mom, and she did it, and she did it without complaint, without, asking for, a pat on the back or anything like that. And so she
Wow.
just always was a great example of how she supported my dreams and my hopes at the time and my goals and playing sports and my academics. And she was there for my family and took care and supported my
Wow.
cousins. And I just, like, saw, like, she just did it all. And so yeah, she's a great role.
That's really incredible. She must have, well, I was going to say that she must have a lot of stamina. You seem like you have a lot of stamina, so maybe it
I
is
can't keep
like
up with her.
so interesting. Yeah.
She's 76, and man, oh man, yeah, we try to keep up with her.
It is, I was just having this conversation with my daughter who's 16 about nature versus nurture because she did something or said something today. Don't remember what it was, but it was exactly what my mother says or does. And I thought, what is that? I forget what it was, but I remember thinking that has to be genetic. And I had no idea that this aspect of personality would be genetic. It's
Like
kind of
this
shocking.
deja vu moment for you, right?
Yes. Yeah, I was like, wow, that's crazy, you know?
Yeah, so you
Um,
could see how certain traits can run in
yeah,
families, right? Yeah. And so yeah, I think that piece is amazing. And that goes back to, too, when you're talking about, like, healthy life is, what makes you happy and what's your purpose, and who are the people around you, and so I think it's all very important pieces, and we forget to ask people about that.
100%. I remember back in the day, I worked at the chamber and we had a program. This was before HIPAA laws became a thing.
Mm.
It
Sure.
was the dark ages. So we had a committee and we were like, let's make people healthier. And a lot of the people were health professionals. And I was just a girl who worked at the chamber, but I was actually, they would sit with them, take their blood pressure, ask them questions, and then I would record it in my computer at the chamber. Can you even imagine, by the way? Like that just wouldn't fly now. But I remember they did it with me and they were like, wow, you are so healthy. I was in my early 20s. I was eating Pop Tarts, smoking, and drinking Mountain Dew.
The beauty
Right.
of being 20.
Right. And I was like, I did say to them, I think these questions need to be better because I'm not as healthy as you think I am. It's just my age and genetics and everything's working for me right
Absolutely.
now. But, it was like an early lesson in, wow, they're not asking the right questions, you
And
know?
our environment absolutely plays a role. So I think a lot of us will blame our genetics, and good or bad. But the
Yes.
reality is genetics are a piece of it. And we'll use genetics. Genetics is making such great strides. So we'll
Yeah.
use genetics. Genetics, I mean, is something that you can do for, cancer screening, but we'll use it in the office looking at like a systems-based approach that we use a company called 3x4 Genetics, and you can do the swab in your home and you send it off. And it's not looking at any gene that will specifically cause a disease, but it's looking at genes that can potentially modify or just have a role in disease, but it's not going to cause the disease, right? So it's not like a cancer screening or anything like that. But it does, it can help us. It can help with helping athletes like train, helping people work on weight loss. So there's so many ways that we can use it to our advantage. But then really combining those genetics with our environment, right? How are
Yes.
we sleeping? What's our stress like? What are we eating? How's our nutrition? How's our, toxin intake, smoking, alcohol, you name it, right? So there's so many different things. You're hearing more about like the forever plastics, right? Like don't
Yes.
microwave plastics. Don't like watch what you're, like I'm very adamant about like the girls, about what the kids like use for like makeup products and what they're putting on their bodies.
Oh,
It's so
yeah.
important, right? Because we have all these estrogen
Yes.
containing materials for especially for our young women. So yeah, there's just so much to bring together as a doctor nowadays to look at the whole patient.
That is so interesting. I never thought about what I put on my body or what kind of makeup. I never considered that that is like the same as maybe the plastics or the other,
Absolutely.
processed food
Mhm.
materials. So that is a really interesting new concept for me.
My kids always laugh and they'll like make fun of me. They'll be like, "You're a crazy mom." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I love you, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
doing this because I love you." So I realize that like not everything's going to be perfect. But you try to teach them early about foods, like the ingredients in foods, looking at, you know, what's on the box, what's on the
Mhm.
label, right? Can you even pronounce it? And then what are you washing with? What's in your hair products or your face wash or your
Wow.
body wash
Yeah.
or, like a bath bomb or any of those
Yep.
products. It's so important to have clean products. And I'm like, can you pronounce this? Does it have all these random dyes in it? And if so, don't go putting that on your body.
Is there like a top tip that you would say to somebody if somebody's like, okay, I have not been living the healthiest life. I'm kind of assessing where do I start?
Sure. That can seem very overwhelming, right?
Yes.
So I think it's just making little goals. So you can have a long-term goal, right? Like a big goal, but then
Mhm.
have little goals, achievable goals, right? So one step at a time. Pick an area. I am going to, if I'm sedentary, or I'm not used to working out at all, I'm going to pick something. I'm going to start walking every day for so many minutes, right? Consistency is key. So I don't need you to go out for an hour one day and then not do something for 3 days straight, right? I'd
Right.
rather you start 10 minutes every day, 15 minutes, 20 minutes every day,
Yeah.
right? Start somewhere
Yeah.
and build. Or if it's diet, for example, okay, I'm going to choose to not have any fried foods or I'm trying to cut out processed food. We all eat some
Right.
realm of processed food, but the ultra
Right.
processed foods, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to add in a few more vegetables every day.
Yes. Yeah. That's mine.
Yeah. It's hard.
Um,
It's hard to get a lot of vegetables in, but you can
yes.
try to do it little by little. Drink more water. People don't realize like something as little as like hydrate,
Yeah.
right? I'll drink a cup of coffee or maybe tea or something like that in the morning, but drink a glass of water the minute you wake up and then try to drink some water throughout the day.
Yeah.
Hydration is really key.
What about who you look toward for inspiration? Like, is there an athlete that you're like, yeah, that's the person that inspires me? Or do you have anybody out there that you kind of look to for inspiration?
Well, I will say my favorite athlete of all time was Michael Jordan. That's
Paul?
my favorite. Um, But really, for inspiration, I think I just keep it close, right? Like when it comes to life, it's always been my mom who's been
Mhm.
just like this great supporting figure, trying to make her proud and now trying to make my husband proud and trying to make my kids proud. And then looking like my mentor who's always believed in me and said like you could do this and has pushed me to learn new things and has, supported me on those endeavors. I think it's more that tight knit group around me.
Yeah. What about your perfect day? What would your perfect day look like?
It'd probably be at the shore, going for a run in the morning, reading a book, and then doing something with the kids, whether it's
Nice.
just walking around or going for some ice cream or going to the beach.
What about your perfect meal?
Oh, that's a tough one. I do love ice cream. I try not to eat it all the time, but I do love ice
Yeah.
cream. But I would say a really, really nice steak.
Then what about if you could have a perfect steak and ice cream with three people alive, dead, you know them, you
Ooh,
don't know them, like anybody in the entire world is at your disposal, and you get to have like 3 hours over some steak and some ice cream and lots of water and a little bit of coffee. Who would
wow.
they be?
Okay. So I'd have to go back to probably saying Michael Jordan. Would love to meet him because he is probably one of the best competitors that I've ever,
Mm.
I would love to say known in a very distant sense, right?
Yeah. Yes.
um, but yeah, I would love to, yeah, I would love to just pick his brain about his competitiveness and his drive to succeed, which I think was like none other. Um,
Can I just interject something that you're just reminding me because you talk about your
Absolutely.
mother so much, and I
Hmm.
haven't seen the movie about the like Air Jordans, but I've heard that his mother played such a pivotal role in his life. So it's just interesting that you have that parallel.
So my understanding is she's the reason for the brand.
That's what I understand too. And he said somebody was asking him about his parents, and they said, "Yeah, my father's like the sweetest guy, nice, whatever. You want to understand me, you need to meet my mother."
I love
That's,
it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love it. Well, think about it. She changed marketing for athletes moving forward.
that's really true.
Completely changed marketing.
That's really
So
true.
revolutionized it.
Yep. So it'd be
Let's
you and
see.
Michael.
Oh my. Um, it would have to be some amazing woman in time. Maybe Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
just because I have just this soft spot for some of these amazing women who paved the way. And I
Mhm.
realize, yes, she's not a doctor, but she was a lawyer and a judge and just
Yes.
incredible things when women were not
Invited.
allowed, invited, they
Mhm.
were not seen. And she was just like, I will not stand for that. And I think that's
Yeah.
amazing. And also, too, again, not having met them, but credit to her husband for being super supportive. And I think that's amazing, right? Like, I have
Yeah.
this incredible husband who is super supportive of having a successful life. And
Yeah.
I think that is not said enough
I
that
love that.
that there are some incredible husbands and spouses out there that are super supportive and are super okay with having successful wives at their side.
Honestly think that could be like a whole podcast discussion because I agree with you. And when you have a husband who can handle that they are married to somebody who is strong and is
Absolutely.
smart and is accomplished, that says so many good things about them and their strength and their
Incredible.
confidence. And yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, we realize our differences, but that's what makes the relationship great.
Yeah.
and we can joke about some of those differences and we can rely on some of those differences, but we also just realize them and just pay credit to them and just say, okay, like we appreciate them, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he can do some things that I couldn't even think of doing.
Yep.
And that's okay. I love it.
100%. Yeah.
I love it.
Okay. So you have tiny little Ruth Bader Ginsburg standing next to Michael Jordan.
It's a great group, right? I mean,
I
come on.
know.
I'm like, let's see. Well, like I'd have to bring my hubby with me, right? To
So there
like,
you go. He
to,
can, yeah.
to be there and have a great conversation with them.
Yes.
He would probably pick like a famous general or something like that. So
Yes. But that's
that's
really
more his.
interesting.
That's more
That's more
his.
his speed. Is he into sports and athletics as well?
Yes, he was an all-state football player, track athlete, and then he's Army infantry. So
Oh, so
he's
yeah. So you didn't stray far from your desire for athleticism.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, that's really cool.
He just doesn't like to work out now, so he's like my project, I call him. So now he's like, no, but I worked out for years. Why do I have to now? I'm like, because you have to get old with me, so you have to
Right.
work out with
Oh,
me.
I understand where he's coming from.
Mhm.
Um, and finally, because this podcast, Soulful Connections, is under the umbrella of soulful living. When you hear a phrase like soulful living, what does that mean to you? What does it conjure up for you?
I think the first word that comes to mind is purpose. What is your purpose? And I think sometimes people think that has to be this like big major thing, like I have to make some invention or I have to do, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I look at people that came before me or doctors who are super successful and are on podcasts and speaking and this and that. And I'm like, like I love what I do. Like I can help
Yeah.
people every day. And so it's just being mindful and really appreciative of like what you're doing.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be this grand scale. It can be something small. It could be within your own household. It could be within your own community. So yeah, I think it's just having a purpose and in some way giving back, treating people like you would want, your family members treated.
Love that, Jill. Well, Jill, I have to say thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you for being
you.
here on the podcast. Thanks for bringing your information about functional wellness and about ourselves holistically. I think that we probably don't talk about that enough. We talk about ourselves as though we're like a piece here and a piece there. And you're reminding me just about the wholeness of us. I
Absolutely.
appreciate that.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. Thank you for being a valued part of the Soulful community. Thank you to William Aronson for writing, recording, and producing the Soulful Connections theme song. And finally, always know you're not alone. We are connected. We're all in this thing together, and you and your story are important. Let's just keep on connecting.